All right, students, this is lesson 732. In this lesson, we're going to learn this objective. I can solve system equations using the substitution method. For that lesson, we're going to go to page 10. Okay, and the first problem here is a problem about socks. Anna's mother took her shopping for new socks. And you can go ahead and read this this cartoon if you want, but basically if she buys designer socks, they cost $1 more than twice the cost of plain socks, and the price for 3 pairs of plain socks and 1 pair of designer socks is $11. The equations you get for those situations are given here. This means twice as much as the designer socks, or twice as much as a plain sock plus 1 more, and the other one means you get 3 pairs of plain socks plus 1 pair of designer socks for $11. And if you graph those two equations, here's the graph you get. Now to solve that system using the graph, all we'd have to do is estimate this point of intersection, and that point of intersection looks like 2, 5. So basically what we're saying here is that the cost of the regular socks, the plain socks, is $2 and the designer socks are $5. Okay? There's another way we can solve that. It's called substitution, and I'll just demonstrate that here. So we have two equations, y equals 2x plus 1 and 3x plus y equals 11. If y is equal to 2x plus 1, that means that anywhere that I have a y, I could replace it with 2x plus 1 because they're equal to the same thing. So if you look closely at the second equation here, we have a y here. And with the equation as it sits with 2 variables, there's an infinite number of solutions. But if I had only 1 variable, I would have only 1 solution. And I can get that by substituting 2x plus 1 for y. And that's because of this. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. So any place where I have a y, I can put 2x plus 1, and it'll still be equal. Simplifying that, I get 5x plus 1 is equal to 11. Subtracting 1 from both sides, I get 5x equals 10. Dividing both sides by 5 gives me x is equal to 2. Now that I found that x is 2, I can find y. We know that y is equal to 2 times x plus 1. So, and we now know x is 2, so I'll just do 2 times 2 plus 1. And so y is 5. And then just to make sure I have the right answer, I want to make sure that my solution works for the other equation. 3x plus y has to equal 11. That's this one. So x, I think, is 2. So I'm going to put 2 there for x, and y, I think, is 5. And 3 times 2 is 6, plus 5 is 11, which is what we should get. So we just check and it works. This method is called substitution, and it's just substituting an equal value for another one. All right, let's go to the next page here, and I'll show you how that works again. So in this first equation, we know that a is equal to 3 minus b. And the second equation tells us that 4 times b plus a is equal to 15. Well, since a is equal to 3 minus b, where I have an a here, I can substitute in 3 minus b. So I end up with this equation, 4b plus 3 minus b. That's where I did my substitution. It used to say 4b plus a. And remember, a and 3 minus b are equal to each other, equals 15. Now to simplify that, 4b minus b is 3b, plus 3 is 15. Subtract 3 from both sides, and I get 3b equals 12. And of course, 3 times 4 is 12, so I know b is 4. Okay, now that I know that b is 4, I know that a is equal to 3 minus b. And I know b is 4, so I'm just going to substitute 4 for b. And so I get a is equal to 3 minus 4, which is -1. Now the last step is always to make sure it works in the other equation. So that's this equation. I have to make sure 4 times b plus a is 15. So I have to do 4 times 4. plus -1, substituting 4 for B and -1 for A, and see if that equals 15. Well, 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 plus -1 is 15, so that works. All right, I'm going to leave this one for you to try at some point between now and when next time we meet in class. Okay. Sometimes you have to solve for a variable first before you substitute, and that's the case here. So we have x plus y is equal to 8, and 4x minus y equals 7. If I solve this first equation for y, I'll just put that over here. What I need to do is just subtract 8 from both sides, or subtract x from both sides. And if I do that, I get y is equal to 8 minus x. Now I know that 8 minus x can replace y. So I'm going to use the second equation here. And instead of 4x minus y equals 7, I'm going to do 4x minus what y is equal to right here. 8 minus x. Be careful with that one because we're subtracting a quantity here. Now when I subtract the quantity 8 minus x, I'm going to get 4x minus 8. And then when I subtract a minus x, that's going to be the same as plus x equals 7. 4x plus x is 5x minus 8 equals 7. Adding 8 to both sides gives me 5x equal to 15. Dividing both sides by 5 gives me x is equal to 3. All right, now that I know what x is, I know that x plus y, add these two together, it has to equal 8. And I know that x is 3. So 3 plus something has to equal 8. And of course, that something would be 5. So I think x is 3 and y is 5. My last check is just to make sure it works in this equation. So instead of 4 times x, I'm going to do 4 times 3. Instead of minus y, I'm going to do minus 5 because y is equal to 5. Make sure that equals 7. And it does equal 7, so it works. Okay, I'm going to let you try 5. All right, the last problem we're going to do here is number 7. It says, consider this system of equations. Graph the equation on your calculator, estimate the point of intersection. To graph those on our calculator, we have to put them in the y equals form, slope-intercept form. To do that, I'll need to add 2x to both sides here. So I get 2x plus 3 for that one. And to solve the other one for y, I need to subtract 5x from both sides. And that gives me y is equal to negative 5x plus 27, 2y that is. And dividing by 2, I get y is equal to negative 2.5x plus 13.5. All right? And it says that we should graph those on our calculator and estimate the point of intersection. So I put them in my y equals on my calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and graph those. And my guess is that x is about 2.5 and y is maybe about 8.5. So 2.5 and 8.5. All right. And now it says solve the system of equations using substitution. Okay, to solve them using substitution, we have here that y is equal to 2x plus 3. And we have here that y is equal to negative 2.5x plus 13.5. So since they're both equal to y, they must be equal to each other. So 2x plus 3 should equal negative 2.5x plus 13.5. And to solve that now, I'm going to add 2.5x to both sides. That gives me 4.5x plus 3 is equal to 13.5. Subtract 3, and we get 4.5x is equal to 10.5. Dividing by 0.5 gives me x is equal to 2 and 0.3 repeating. Okay, and then to find y, we need to go ahead and substitute that. Y is equal to 2x plus 3. So I need to do 2 times 2 1/3 plus 3, and that's 4.6 repeating plus 3, which is 7.6 repeating. All right. It says, what advantage does solving this linear equation by substitution have over by graphing? Remember our estimate when we estimated the answer? We're actually off a little bit. The actual answer is 2.3 repeating and 7.6 repeating, which means the advantage is accuracy. If we solve it using substitution, we should be able to get the exact answer. All right. You can go ahead and try a couple of those problems that I suggested, and we'll talk about this next time we meet in class.